ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sportsbooks and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app. From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the Closing Bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the Closing Bell.
Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. This is East Coast Sports Investors Closing Bell for Tuesday, December 12th. My name is Riley Magnuson, rocking solo on this fine Tuesday afternoon/evening, catching you up on what's going on today in the world of sports, the marquee events, and everything beyond. For Tuesday night, only a handful of games, so probably going to be as it typically is on a smaller slate. On a solo show with me, going to be fairly short and sweet. Unfortunately, going to have to do a little bit of recapping on yesterday. As far as tonight, a handful of NBA games, a few college basketball games, but we've kind of gotten past a couple of really nice weekends in college basketball, and now have some bigger name teams that are playing some lower level mid majors. So really not anything that is all too interesting in the college basketball world. You got some ranked teams in action, some other Power 5 teams in action. But as far as those teams are concerned, I don't see anything less than 13, 14 points. So really nothing exciting that I'm, expecting anybody to be watching tonight as far as the college basketball world. We do have, I believe it's 5 NBA games tonight. A few decent ones to talk about that we'll touch on in a second. Obviously, last night's 2 NFL games, 2 big upsets, 1 massive upset, 1 pretty ugly upset for the Packers faithful, including myself. Obviously, a loss that kind of checks the momentum that they had. Obviously, not throwing up the white flag and abandoning all hope for the playoffs. They are still in the playoffs as of right now, the Packers. But obviously Jordan Love was really bad last night. Joe Barry, defensive coordinator, not good. Matt LaFleur, hot and cold, had some good moments of having the offense moving as a play caller, and then a lot of plays that stalled some drives that were very head-scratching there. On top of a couple other players obviously not playing well. But Jordan Love just not good at all last night. You can say what you want. No Christian Watson. Did hurt them a little bit, but just some blatant misses and some just flat-out bad throws. So going to need to bounce back. They are home for Tampa Bay next week in Lambeau. That one on Sunday. So feel good about that one. Like that matchup for the Packers. I believe they got Carolina after that before finishing with Minnesota and Chicago. Do really strongly feel that 9-8 almost certainly, in my opinion, is making the playoffs in the NFC. Would not shock me at all if 8-9 gets it done in that 7th seed there. You've got Nick Mullins, the 6th seed, the 7-6 Vikings starting Nick Mullins at least this upcoming week in Cincinnati on Saturday. Cincinnati minus 3.5 as of right now, at least what I'm looking at right now. So could get a even bigger logjam there. Some of those other, at least in the 6 and 7 stretches, and even got to look at these 5 and 8 teams now. The Bears and the Giants being a couple of them there. Atlanta, all 3 NFC South teams. Obviously, one of them's winning the division, but the other 2, if they don't, kind of in this hunt as well. Atlanta 6 and 7, they travel to Carolina. Giants 5-8 traveled to the Saints, so one team, the loser of that game, obviously going to be in a tough position potentially there. Maybe, obviously, anything could happen there. Rams 6-7, hosting the Commanders, got a chance to bounce back and make a name. 7-7, make a run at this thing themselves. Meanwhile, Seattle hosting the Eagles on Monday Night Football at 6-7. So a lot of teams still in the NFC. Obviously, a lot of these teams you don't expect to do much in the playoffs. Maybe a win, if anything. Doubtful, but if anything there. So still worth watching and talking about there. But moving on to tonight, and then I'll cut it off here, and we might be heading out of here in 15, 20 minutes or so. I want to give a shout out to WagerWire before I forget. If you're watching right where I'm pointing up here in the corner, if you haven't checked WagerWire out, go download the app right now. It's going to make you a much smarter and more resourceful sports bettor. Jeff had their CEO, Travis Geiger, on this morning. Please go and check that show this morning out. They've been talking most Tuesday mornings now for a few weeks, I do believe, there. So definitely want to go check out WagerWire if you have not already. As for the NBA, as I mentioned, 5 games tonight, handful from last night that we talked about. Charlotte takes care of business. They cover, don't win. The Detroit Pistons, +7, can't get inside the back door there. An 8-point loss, failed to cover. Atlanta does not cover. We were wrong about that one. There was another one here. I don't know. We were leaning, or maybe I was leaning towards the Spurs, not as heavily as the Pistons. They failed to cover as well. 11-point loss on a 9-point spread. Pelicans take care of business. That was the other one that we talked quite a bit about there. So now moving into tonight. And I think I said my Bulls, I didn't expect them to put up as much of a fight. 3-0 on the auto play. That is the Vooch over 1.5 threes. So going for that fourth one. I don't think I've ever had a 4-0 sweep. So if you've been following along, maybe take your money and run on the 3-0 swing for the plus money. Vooch over 1.5 threes on those games. Don't quite know when they play again, but we'll revisit it when we get there. They are back in action tonight, back-to-back, this time at home. So short travel from Milwaukee back to Chicago, facing Denver Nuggets, who go from Atlanta now to Chicago. Obviously a bigger chunk of travel for them. 7.5-point spread. Denver, obviously, offensively, looks pretty good last night in Atlanta. Now facing a Bulls team that, despite the loss last night, goes to overtime with the Bucks. Obviously playing a lot better right now without Zach LaVine. The Bulls, Kobe White, huge outpouring last night, has been really, really good without Zach LaVine there. So interested to see what this Bulls team does. Obviously, they're trying to drum up some value for Zach LaVine that hasn't been there. And the team having significantly more success the second he leaves, and someone else like Kobe White stepping in and having a huge impact, obviously isn't helping that trade value too much. So might have to get unique with the ways you try and drum up some trade value for Zach LaVine there. Not sure how much longer he's going to be out, but so far I believe it's 4-1, with yesterday being that first loss and an overtime loss to the Bucks in Milwaukee. So nothing to slouch at there. Now you've got the defending champs in town, who have been a little wishy-washy as far as sometimes living up to expectations like they are supposed to be, and then a handful of times every once in a while kind of going through the motions. They have not been as good to the spread on the road. They've been pretty bad on the spread to the spread on the road. They've been a losing team on the road altogether. 5-8 straight up, 3-10 to the number. So obviously they've got they get the win and cover last night. But coming into Chicago, this is the second matchup, I believe, between these two teams this year. November 4th, Denver wins 123-101 as 9-point favorites. Now only 7.5 here in Chicago. It does kind of feel like a Bulls number, I will admit. However, you've got a Bulls team that's playing a lot better, and also a team that's on the second night of it back-to-back. So I don't really know what to expect. I do think this number is kind of fair. I would lean towards the Bulls and, honestly, to the under of the 220 there. You got a Denver team that just put up 129 last night. Their totals have been a bit higher than this for the most part. Bulls have been going over their last couple, 224 and 233. So I think I really, really am interested in the under in this game, under 220. I think this one finds a way to stay under that number there. Denver team total 113.5, Bulls 106.5. I think one of those teams probably does stay under, but I'll go under in the Nuggets and the game total under as well. Not sure if the Bulls get the win. Not sure if they cover, but I'll go with the game total under 220 on that one. Cavs and Boston. Waiting to see if there's another update here. This one was somewhat surprising on the large number here. However, you do have a couple of guys out, Mobley being one of them for the Cavs. Number very different than what their number was last night in Orlando. They fail to cover and kind of they lose by 10 at Orlando, so that might have a factor into it. Also, think you might get somebody else potentially out of this game. Second night of a back-to-back, obviously for the Cavs. Not the case for the Boston Celtics. They've got a few days off here. Haven't played since December 8th there in Boston's case, and they're obviously playing really, really well right now. So a situation where you might want to maybe Boston or nothing on this one, kind of baiting you into the Cavs. It does seem like, but at the end of the day, there might be you might see a Donovan Mitchell out of this game or somebody else, honestly, with the way this number has climbed a little bit here today. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of staying away from that one, but expect the Celtics to take care of business and keep winning here. Nice, well-rested situation. That also obviously lends into the big number as compared to the Cavs coming off of a loss last night in Orlando and the travel there. Lakers and Dallas, another one here. No Kyrie, I believe, again here for Dallas. And I see Luka as questionable as well right now, so obviously got to pay attention to that. They are second night of a back-to-back. Lakers have not played since the Saturday night Vegas win in the in-season tournament, 123-109. So they're the favorite here in Dallas with no Kyrie. But obviously, got to pay attention to what Luke is doing. If he is out and this number doesn't move at all and it's still 4.5, then I might be interested in the Mavericks. Oddly enough, as we kind of typically say here, if he is in and it also sticks right there at 4.5, I'm a little nervous on the Mavericks, but you don't know what to expect out of this Lakers team coming off of the in-season tournament win. Obviously playing really well during that stretch, but you don't know, is that going to carry over? Are they satisfied with that and now going to take a little step back, or are they going to keep the pedal down to the floor here? A lot of things would tell you maybe they're maybe not tonight necessarily, maybe in a week or two here. Lakers probably going to put it in coast a little bit now that they've got a nice winning record here. Kind of historic for a LeBron team the last few years as far as those guys missing some time potentially. But Anthony Davis has been looking fantastic. Obviously was a madman on Saturday night. So if that team is showing up, then they should win this game easily. But obviously got to pay attention to what's going on in Dallas and not really trying to decipher what the energy and motivation of this Lakers team is after what they just went through on Saturday. So two more, Golden State and Phoenix. Phoenix, no Kevin Durant tonight. This one is in Phoenix. Golden State 10-12, Phoenix 12-10. Phoenix does have it looks like Booker and Beal in the lineup here tonight. But as I mentioned, no Kevin Durant. Curry, Thompson, Draymond Green look to be good to go for the Warriors. They've been kind of going back and forth for the most part here. On the road, they are 5-6. I believe they're 5-6 home and away straight up. They've been good to the number on the road, though. But I kind of expect this Phoenix team to wake up even without Kevin Durant here. They're still favored here. Respect that without Kevin Durant there. So as much as this one has come down, I think you missed a better number on the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm keeping the Warriors on the desk. And I'm kind of interested in the Suns team now that this number is coming down. Without Kevin Durant, obviously they still have some firepower. And this Warriors team just has been a little off, obviously, 10-12, a little off, back and forth a little bit there. So I'm going to go with the Suns here at home to take care of business against the Warriors. In the final game, the Kings and the Clippers, 12-8 Kings, the 11-10 Clippers, 3.5-point favorites for the Clippers at home. This Clippers team has obviously been winning some games recently after that weird stretch when they activated James Harden. 4 games in a row: Golden State, Denver, Utah, and Portland. So a couple good teams, couple of bad teams in that mix there. Their defense has actually been playing pretty well during that stretch. Kings kind of also in better spots here. 3 of their last 4 in the win column against 4 pretty good teams. Denver lost against the Pelicans and then wins against the Suns and the Nets there. Yes, the Nets are actually a pretty good team right now. Head-to-head, these teams have played once this year. Clippers get a 131-117 in Sacramento. And as far as this game is going, I'm not sure what the the splits are on this one for bet percentages. Not sure. Obviously, anytime the Kings are a dog of this nature, it does seem like they're kind of baiting you into the Kings there. So I'm a little interested in this Clippers team here at home. They've obviously been playing really well and taking care of business for the most part at home lately. 7-3 straight up on the season at home. Not as good to the number, so maybe inflated. Definitely inflated at times. They had been, but I think this is a case where not so inflated. I think this is accurate, and I think the Clippers take care of business tonight. Would prefer it if I could see it. Wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers win and they don't cover, but I'm leaning towards the Clippers tonight in LA. So that about does it, my friends. That is 5 NBA games in and out. We've got nothing as far as NFL until Thursday. A riveting Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell AFC West matchup. Both teams at 5-8. So one team is going to be 6-8, and I guess have an outside chance if they have a run in them to make the playoffs. But obviously a log jam out there. Both these teams are closer to the bottom than the top, technically, with how many teams are in between there. So the loser of that game is going to have a great shot at finding themselves in the top 10 NFL draft picks there. So got to remember there's 3 NFL games on Saturday this week, 3 pretty good ones, or at least 3 games with implications. Whether or not they are good to you is you can be the judge there. Minnesota, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Indy, and Denver and Detroit there. So interested to see how Pittsburgh responds after the way they've been playing. Interested to see how Indy responds after what just happened in Cincy. And then obviously, as I mentioned, you got Nick Mullins on the road in Cincinnati getting the start there. So without further ado, that is about all I've got here. Before I go, I guess just out of curiosity, trying to see when the first bowl games are. It is actually this Saturday, so that one slipped past my radar. You got a handful of games on Saturday, a couple of decent ones there to get us kicked off for the bowl games. So we'll get you geared up for that as we get closer there. I know I will be gone tomorrow, and I will be back on Thursday, as well as potentially Friday morning for some Big Ten preview. A little early maybe for some Big Ten football preview, but Big Ten basketball should be decent and heating up this weekend, I do believe. If not, maybe some games against some lower-level opponents that we can talk about, but otherwise some games that are teams that we can obviously talk about in prep. But there are actually 2 or 3 games, now that I look about it. Kansas, Indiana. Indiana not as hot as you'd like, but Baylor, Michigan State, as well as Ohio State, UCLA, and Arizona, Purdue, 1 versus 3. So we definitely got some games to talk about in the Big Ten this weekend, and we will on Friday morning. But until then, I will go ahead and get on here. I will be back on Thursday about the same time, talking to everything Thursday night, as well as that Thursday night football game that I talked about, NBA, whatever else, college basketball. So I will see y'all then. Thank y'all for stopping by. I know it was short and sweet, but only 5 NBA games. Solo show always going to be short and sweet with me. So until next time, I will see y'all later. Thank y'all for stopping by. Best of luck if you got anything going on tonight.